spiritual Manthan.
Have you ever noticed how some people seem unshakable, no matter what life throws at them? It's like they're walking through a storm with an umbrella made of steel, untouched by the chaos around them. You could hurl criticism, throw shade, or even call them quirky names like Moonwalker, and yet they'd just smile. They're grounded, calm, and unbothered. What's their secret? Loneliness. Yes, you heard me right. Loneliness, something most of us dread, is actually their secret weapon. For highly spiritual people, loneliness isn't a burden, it's a gift. It's their teacher, their guide, and their doorway to extraordinary powers that the rest of us can only marvel at. Let's dive into 5 of these remarkable powers and discover how solitude transforms them into unshakable forces of nature. 1. The power of emotional mastery. Picture this: you're alone in a room with nothing but your thoughts. At first, it feels manageable. Then the silence becomes deafening. All the things you've buried, your fears, regrets, and insecurities, start rising to the surface. It's like being locked in a room with your inner demons. Most of us would do anything to escape this discomfort. We distract ourselves with social media, binge-watch shows, or fill the silence with meaningless chatter. But highly spiritual people do the exact opposite. Instead of running away, they face their emotions head-on. Loneliness becomes their battlefield, and their emotions are the opponents. At first, it's a struggle. It's painful to confront the parts of yourself you'd rather ignore. But over time, they learn to navigate this emotional terrain. They start identifying patterns, why they react a certain way, what triggers their anxiety, and how to let go of pain that no longer serves them. It's like untangling a knotted ball of string. With patience and effort, they turn chaos into clarity. What's fascinating is how this practice transforms them. Once they've wrestled with their own emotions and won, the external world loses its power over them. Insults, they roll off like water on wax. Rejection, it doesn't sting as much because they've already found acceptance within. Even heartbreak feels less like devastation and more like a lesson. They've built an emotional resilience so strong, it's as if they're shielded by an invisible armor. Think about it when you've climbed a mountain. A small hill doesn't intimidate you. That's what emotional mastery does. It's not about never feeling sadness or anger. It's about not being controlled by those emotions. They acknowledge their feelings, process them, and move forward with grace. This emotional strength is one of the reasons why highly spiritual people seem so unshakable. They're not numb or detached. They've simply learned to master the storm within. It's a skill that requires solitude, patience, and the courage to face one's own vulnerabilities. But the reward? An inner peace so profound that nothing from the outside world can disturb it. 2. The gift of inner clarity. Imagine walking into a messy room with clothes on the floor, books piled everywhere, and random knickknacks scattered across every surface. It's overwhelming, right? You don't even know where to start cleaning. Now think about your mind. How often does it feel just as cluttered? With so many distractions, responsibilities, and voices vying for attention, finding clarity feels nearly impossible. That's where loneliness comes in as a surprising gift. Highly spiritual people use solitude like a cleaning tool for the mind. In the stillness, they begin to notice the mess they've been ignoring. They see the thoughts that keep replaying, the worries that serve no purpose, and the beliefs that hold them back. Without the constant noise of the outside world, they have the space to sort through their mental clutter. It's like Marie Kondoing your mind, figuring out what truly sparks joy and letting go of everything else. This process isn't instantaneous. At first, the silence can feel heavy, even suffocating. But with time, it becomes liberating. In the quiet, they start to hear their true selves, their desires, passions, and purpose. They realize what they've been chasing out of societal pressure and what they genuinely want. It's like a fog lifting, revealing a path they couldn't see before. Inner clarity also brings decisiveness. When you know who you are and what you want, you stop wasting energy on things that don't align with your values. Decisions that once felt agonizing, like whether to take a job, end a relationship, or pursue a dream, become simpler. It's not about overthinking every option. It's about trusting your gut because you've done the inner work to understand yourself. This clarity extends beyond personal decisions. It shapes how they interact with the world. They don't feel the need to conform or seek approval because they've found confidence in their own truth. It's as if they're standing in the eye of a hurricane, calm, centered, and unaffected by the chaos around them. In a world where everyone is searching for answers outside themselves, highly spiritual people know the truth. The answers are already within. All it takes is the courage to embrace loneliness and uncover them. 3. The superpower of intuition. Have you ever had a gut feeling about something, a choice, a person, or a situation, and later realized you were spot on? That's intuition at work. For most of us, these moments are rare, almost accidental. But for highly spiritual people, intuition is a well-honed superpower. And loneliness is the secret to unlocking it. When you spend time alone, you remove distractions. You stop drowning in the noise of other people's opinions, societal expectations, and constant chatter. This quiet space allows you to tune into something deeper, a kind of inner compass that guides you with surprising accuracy. It's like switching from a static-filled radio station to one that comes in crystal clear. Highly spiritual people don't just stumble upon this skill, they cultivate it. In solitude, they become more attuned to their surroundings and their own inner world. They notice things others overlook, the subtle shifts in energy when they walk into a room, the unspoken emotions hidden in someone's body language, or the off feeling that warns them to tread carefully. It's as if they've developed a heightened sensitivity to the universe's signals. But intuition isn't just about understanding the external world, it's also about self-awareness. Highly spiritual individuals use their solitude to listen to their inner voice. They reflect on their choices, dreams, and struggles, gaining insights that most people miss. Over time, this deep self-connection strengthens their ability to make decisions that align with their highest good. Think of intuition as a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Highly spiritual people exercise this muscle daily, whether it's through meditation, journaling, or simply sitting in stillness. They learn to trust their instincts, even when logic says otherwise. This trust often leads them to opportunities, people, and experiences that seem almost too perfect to be coincidences. This superpower sets them apart in a world driven by overthinking. While others analyze every detail and second-guess themselves, they move forward with confidence, guided by an inner knowing that rarely leads them astray. It's not magic, it's the result of mastering the art of listening, both to themselves and the world around them. 4. The strength of self-reliance. Think about how much we depend on others in our daily lives. From seeking advice to needing emotional support, we often look outward for solutions. Now imagine a life where you could handle almost anything on your own, not out of stubbornness, but because you've built the strength to rely on yourself. That's the kind of resilience loneliness teaches highly spiritual people. When you're alone, you don't have the luxury of leaning on others. There's no one to distract you from your problems or soothe your anxieties. At first, this can feel terrifying, like being stranded in the wilderness without a map. But over time, you start to realize that everything you need is already within you. You learn to solve your own problems, manage your emotions, and take control of your happiness. This process isn't about shutting people out, it's about becoming whole on your own. Highly spiritual people use loneliness as a training ground for self-reliance. They face their fears head-on, whether it's the fear of failure, rejection, or being alone forever. And each time they overcome a challenge, their confidence grows. They start to see themselves as capable, resilient, and resourceful. This self-reliance also changes how they interact with others. Because they don't need anyone to complete them, their relationships become more authentic. They're not looking for someone to fill a void or fix their problems. Instead, they seek meaningful connections built on mutual respect and understanding. It's like the difference between two trees standing strong side by side and one leaning on the other for support. In a way, loneliness becomes their greatest teacher. It shows them their own strength and helps them break free from the need for constant validation. They stop looking to others for approval because they've already found it within themselves. And in doing so, they become truly free to live, love, and make choices on their own terms. 5. The power to find joy in solitude. For most people, loneliness feels like a void, a heavy emptiness that's almost unbearable. But for highly spiritual individuals, solitude is anything but empty. It's a space filled with possibility, peace, and even joy. How do they do it? By transforming loneliness into a sanctuary. At first, being alone can feel isolating. The silence can be deafening, and the absence of connection can make time crawl. But highly spiritual people view solitude as an opportunity rather than a punishment. They use this time to reconnect with themselves, nurture their passions, and find beauty in the simplest moments. It's like tending a garden. At first, it's just dirt and weeds. But with care and patience, it blossoms into something extraordinary. Highly spiritual people cultivate their inner world in the same way. They explore their thoughts, reflect on their experiences, and uncover layers of themselves they didn't even know existed. In doing so, they turn loneliness into a source of strength and fulfillment. One of the most remarkable things about this process is how it changes their perspective on happiness. They realize that joy doesn't come from external sources like relationships, achievements, or material possessions. True happiness comes from within, from feeling at peace with yourself and the life you've created. This inner joy becomes a beacon, attracting others who are drawn to their calm and contentment. It's as if they've discovered a secret treasure that the rest of the world is still searching for. And the best part? This joy is unshakable. Because it comes from within, it's not dependent on external circumstances. In their solitude, they find the kind of peace that most people spend a lifetime chasing. They learn to love their own company, to be their own best friend, and to embrace life's quiet moments as deeply meaningful. It's not just a power, it's a gift. And it's one that anyone can cultivate if they're willing to face their loneliness and transform it into something beautiful. Highly spiritual people have unlocked the secret that loneliness isn't a punishment, it's a gift. It's a mirror that forces you to look at yourself, a teacher that pushes you to grow, and a sanctuary where you can find peace. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. So, the next time you find yourself alone, don't fight it. Embrace it. Use it as an opportunity to discover the extraordinary powers that lie within you. Who knows? You might just come out the other side, stronger, wiser, and more at peace than ever before.